The following presentation is brought to you by kmmedia.pro. Please visit kmmedia.pro for more information. Now stay right where you are as we present. Welcome to Positive Talk Radio, evolving ideas one conversation at a time. Great guests, dynamic stories and interviews, plus new thoughts on a wide range of topics and concepts. I hope that you'll hang with me, Kevin McDonald, my friends, and of course, you. As together we work to understand why we are all here and what we can do to make our world a better place for all of us. To be happy, be kind, and live in peace together. Yep, that's Positive Talk Radio. To another episode of Positive Talk Radio. My name is Kevin McDonald, and I have got a great guest and a prolific writer that we're going to be talking to this hour. And first of all, I have to apologize because I stopped watching movies when I was maybe in the 90s, and so when I look at your last name, which is Goetz, and I go, Leo Goetz, because that was in Lethal Weapon 3, which is probably older than you are now. But that was, and so a lot of people don't get that reference. But anyway, we're talking with Bracha Goetz. She is an author of 41 books, 40 children's books, as well as one adult book. And it's great to have you here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Well, it is fun to have you, and we're going to talk about all of your books and your motivation behind it and what you're doing. But what you been up to lately?
What have I been up to lately? Let's see. I don't know. Today was supposed to be this huge storm. They even let schools out early, and it's the most beautiful day. Oh my goodness. It's sunny, there's a breeze. It's wonderful. So you never know in life when things look dark and stormy in the next minute could be totally the sun shines again. Beautiful.
Well, do you see the background that I have here?
Oh, yes.
Now, what that is a guy, a friend of mine, took this picture. It was a hailstorm that was forming over the city of Seattle. And and I use it as a metaphor because the
Wow.
hailstorm it's kind of like our life.
Wow.
We can have this huge bunch of clouds and dark clouds and stuff, but if you look off over that shoulder, if you look off in the distance, there's blue sky.
Wow. That's great. Amazing. Amazing.
So what that signifies is even if there's a storm going on in your life today, there's blue sky a coming.
Yes. Amazing. Love it. Look how we were both experiencing the same thing. That's incredible.
Well, I'm glad you got that. Some folks go, yeah, whatever.
Amazing. I
They say,
love it.
You're nuts, but whatever you want to think is just fine by me. So let's talk about you and the number of books you've written. Matter of fact, I should probably bring them up and we can maybe even screen share them maybe if I get really lucky with technology. But tell us about how did you start writing children's books?
Oh, well, let's see. I was in Israel and my little children were playing around me. I took a notebook. I started scribbling the idea that I had while they were playing, and then I didn't type it up, no computer. I put it handwritten, like loose leaf paper, into an envelope, and I mailed it to America. And 6 weeks later, I got an answer that they were accepting the book. So that's how I started writing children's books. I realized, I guess you just do it, Yep.
Do you realize, I'm sure you do, how rare that is? That you can have that you send it off to a publisher, not 30, and it showed up there.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is amazing. And that was obviously just like sent to me on purpose to encourage me to keep going. Yes, you're right.
See, and there we have a list of her books, which is really cool, and that's you and your adorable children.
Yeah. Well, those are my grandchildren, actually.
Oh, those
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. That's two of my grandchildren. Yep. Yep.
My goodness gracious. And I love what some of the titles, and that, like, it only takes a minute. Let's appreciate everyone.
Oh my goodness. That book is teaching children about disabilities because children with disabilities, let's appreciate everyone. Children with disabilities are usually the loneliest children around.
Isn't that
A-
the truth?
Yeah. And what most children, when they see a child with a visible disability, they stare, and that's totally understandable because they're curious. So the book is encouraging them to another another five-letter word. It starts with S also, like stare. So it's easy to remember. When you stare, also add your smile. Smile also, and then your smile gets into the heart of the child and it also opens your heart. So the book is encouraging you. It gives lots of basic information about how to interact more effectively with children so you could be more inclusive because children just don't even know how to interact. They just need a little more education about how to do it and they'll feel more comfortable. Yeah.
Exactly. And your bio says that you're not the typical Harvard graduate. You graduated from Harvard. I haven't even driven down that street. Um, she's the author of 40 picture books that help children grow spiritually, inspiring each uniquely beautiful soul to shine. Where did you come up with that whole concept?
Oh my goodness, I wish I knew. Really, everything comes down. Everything is from the infinite oneness. The infinite oneness, it's a cosmic energy that comes. I don't know how I came up with it, but the minute it came to me, I just felt this is it. What all my books have in common is they help souls to shine. That's it. That's what even the books about prevention of abuse, the books about eating healthy, living healthy. e- Every single book, even the books that are not specifically spiritual, they all help children's souls to shine. Because if a child goes through abuse or neglect in their childhood, it's very hard for their souls to shine. So we need to try to prevent it as much as possible. And if it's already happened, the book explains what to do for that child, how to help the child, how important it is to report it, to let people know that you trust about what happened to you. It's it's essential for being able to let your soul shine again because the truth is, even if someone has been abused or neglected, there's a part of your soul they could not reach. There's a resilience. We all have resilience at any stage of our life to shine again. So we may need support, and we all need nourishment. Every day we need nourishment for our souls to let them shine.
And one of the other books that you've written, I assume, and you tell me, I assume this revolves around grief, which is I lost someone special.
Exactly right. Exactly. Yeah, I was asked to write that book by an organization that helps people deal with the loss of someone that's close to them. And and one of the main thing that book explains is that you can continue the relationship with the person that you lost. You can do good deeds in memory of that person, and you can continue to bind with them. And it will also elevate their soul. Even though they're gone from this world, it will elevate their soul. It will still help their soul to shine if you continue to do good deeds in their memory. Yeah.
That is phenomenal. Now, also the other thing is little kids a lot of times when somebody passes, a grandmother or grandfather or even a father or brother or mother, they are visited by them at times. Do you have talked about that at all in your work?
The book doesn't deal with that, but that is for sure true because when you unplug a refrigerator, you know that energy is going someplace. It's not the end of the energy that was in that fridge. It's not the end of our energy when we die, when our bodies go into the ground and we our bodies, may disintegrate, but our soul doesn't. Our soul lives on just like that energy, and that's really the first law of thermodynamics. Energy is never lost or destroyed. It keeps getting recycled. We're all part of the same energy. So yeah, when we lose someone we love, they still exist. Their essence still exists, even though they're not there in bodily form right there with us at the moment any longer. We can still connect to their spirit.
Now that would be an interesting book because I've talked to people like John Edward, and John Edward. Do you know who that is?
About the near death experiences and living meeting, is that what it's about? Yeah.
Well, John Edward is a psychic medium.
Okay, okay.
And what he says is, and I think it's really true, is like he'll somebody will say, "Well, do we continue?" And he's like, "Do you remember your first car? Like, Braca, do you remember your first car? What was it?
A station wagon.
Your little person in the station wagon." That's really cool. But when that car died, and you no longer were in that car, you just walked away from it, but you were still you. That's how I equate it with when we die. We're leaving our body behind, but that's just the car that we were using. We're
Yes,
still us.
yes. This is our clothing. The body is the clothing for our soul, exactly. Or if you want to call it your car, but that's it, our car because it's what we travel around in. But yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah,
Yeah,
our essence is our spirit.
I didn't use clothing because if you use clothing, people are thinking, well, then you after you die, you're wandering around naked. So somebody might anyway. But I also love, like you've got one book here called The Courage Club. What's that one about?
Oh my goodness. Well, that is actually a Bible story come to life. It's about Daniel in the lion's den, So he had a courage club. He was a really brave young man. And it's about how we can all be courageous like him. We can follow in his spiritual footsteps and stand up for what we believe in as well. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know the story of Daniel, he was thrown into the lion's den, and they were expecting him to get eaten by the lions, but because of his strong faith, the lions left him alone.
It's
Have I got that right?
That's right. They actually saw like an angelic spirit around him. They weren't going to touch him. They saw the spirit of love, and it, it, it's an amazing story. Yeah, exactly.
And tell us about I Want to Be Famous.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, so this is a lot of children, they just want to be famous. They think that's the greatest thing to be. And I could relate to that. As a child, I had the same kind of feelings. So this boy, he actually becomes famous as anybody could nowadays. He's walking in the street, he does something, and someone takes a YouTube video of him. It goes viral. He becomes famous overnight. He's loving it up. He's having a blast. And then Someone puts up another video better than his, and he's no longer, that's it. Nobody wants to interview him anymore. He suddenly loses his fame and he is miserable. And then he realizes, wait a minute, there's a spotlight inside of me. I don't have to have that spotlight from outside. It could be Seymour's day every day. And he gets to celebrate. When he recognizes that, that's what it's all about. Getting your spotlight inside to shine out into the world, not getting the spotlight on you. That is the secret to joy in life, getting your own soul to shine. Yep.
That is, where did you learn all of these? Because these are great topics, especially for kids, but they're great topics for all of us. And a lot of us make it to adulthood and never realize any of these things. Where did you come up with all of this? Was it just magical design?
Yeah, I'm trying to write the books that I wished I had as a child. That's been my goal. You know, I spent years searching, what's the purpose to life? A lot of unnecessary pain that I went through. We don't have to play catch up our whole lives. If children are given the tools for how to have a joyful life from the very beginning, that's it. We then they don't have to waste a lot of time, unnecessary time. They can they can accomplish much more in life. They can help other souls to shine much more. They could suffer less and spread the joy more. So that's what I've been doing. And sometimes, I just call it gifts from, that's it. The source of all the energy. It it kind of rains down in my head. It usually comes early in the morning. I keep a pad by my bed, and as soon as I get these ideas, I scribble in the dark. I can't sometimes read what I wrote by the morning when I wake up in the light. I don't, but it's there. Like somebody called me. They wanted me to write a book about how can my children stop eating all this junk food? How can I get them to exercise, go to sleep, get enough sleep? I said, I would love to help you and write a book like that, but I don't know how to do it exactly. So a few days later, I wake up, I have the title, I have the whole book, how to write it. It's all there and I'm scribbling away. I got it. Like it comes down like rain. And and it's like I have to catch all the raindrops, like the pad of paper gets sopping wet. It's like that's what it is. So
Well,
yeah,
it's what we would call a download from above.
yeah, that's it. That's it.
And which is really cool, and I love what you're doing for children because I think personally in my experience, you tell me about yours, the two questions that at one point in time everybody asks everybody asks this is the first question is this all there is, meaning you're working, you're raising kids, you're going shopping, you're doing all of these things, but is this it? Is this all I get? Is this all there is? And the other one is, why am I really here? What am I here
Exactly.
to do?
Those are my exact questions. At 12 years old, I started asking. This is the book, my memoir, Searching for God in the Garbage. Yeah, it's my diary, the highlights from my diary, and then it became my journal, and then it became letters that I wrote, and then I filled in the missing pieces, and that's what the book is. So basically, when I turned 12, I don't know, my consciousness raised. I don't know. I just started asking that question. What's the purpose to life? Why do we wake up every day to go to work, to buy food, to go to work, to buy food? What's this all for? What's the purpose of all of it? And I searched all over religions, social action, environmentalism, everything, experimenting, relationships, education. That's why I went to Harvard, searching for the ultimate wisdom. So yeah, I eventually found the missing piece for my puzzle in my own heritage, but that's like it was. It had been tossed away. I wasn't given that as a child. And when I found what was missing, like from then on, I was never running on empty again. I what this great rabbi taught me that summer in Israel. Well, I went to Israel for the 6-week break between my first and second year of medical school after I graduated from Harvard, and I didn't come back for 10 years. So yeah, I just went on a whole new path in life of nourishing my hungry soul, which was really hungry. I had food addictions by that point. Like I looked like successful on the outside, but inside I was suffering with like either binge eating or extreme dieting, one or the other. And it was a horrible life because it was my soul was starving, and I didn't know that. But when I finally got the nourishment that I was craving, it was a different kind of life. And that summer, the rabbi in Israel, he taught that the purpose of life is to experience the greatest pleasure possible. And that was nothing like I'd ever heard before. So,
That's not the typical what you hear in church, by the way.
yeah. Well, the greatest pleasure possible are the spiritual pleasures. That they're the lasting pleasures in life. And he taught us about the pleasure ladder. It has 5 rungs. The physical pleasures are the lowest level. Though that's like all the natural physical pleasures, like the food that was designed so geniusly with the ultimate loving kindness, like the orange. It has a peel to keep all the juiciness in, and they become bright and beautiful when they're ready for us to pick them, when they're the most attractive. Before that, they're green, so they camouflage in and we don't pick them. When they're ready, they're bright and beautiful, and they're delicious to eat and look at and smell, and inside are the seeds of eternity. They go on and on. Inside are the genius little seeds that contain all the information how to become a tree and how to become fruit forever. So the these are the physical pleasures. They were designed to bring us joy in life, and all we're here for is to express gratitude back. That's really our job here on earth, to express gratitude, to experience the joy. And that's just the lowest level of pleasure. So, the 5 levels of pleasure, they correspond to the 5 levels of the human soul. So as we nourish our bodies with um, the the natural foods, or being in nature, or moving and dancing, we're also nourishing our souls and uplifting our souls with what it needs that's the lowest level. If you want to hear what the other levels are, do you want to hear
Of
the other?
course.
Okay. Okay. So 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 level 2, going up, even a more lasting pleasure than all the physical pleasures, is love. And love is not about waiting for someone to come into your life. It's completely empowering. We can bring love into our lives at any moment. Even a person in prison, let's say he thinks about a grandmother that once did something so kind for him. He's filled with a warm emotional feeling of love that can uplift him. It uplifts his soul. So love is is a higher form of connection. Because why do we have addictions? Why do we overeat? Or why are we involved in any addiction? Because of a sense of estrangement, alienation, loneliness, boredom, anxiety, depression. And these pleasures bring connection. They bring connection back into our life. So first to a physical thing, natural thing, then to another being, and then the third level up is meaning. When we feel gratitude, it overflows to us to give back to the world, like you're doing with this podcast. Positive talk, giving back to the world. So that fills us with an even more lasting pleasure. And going up that is also creativity. When you do this, is also creative. Creativity, we don't feel like sleeping or eating when we're in that zone of creativity. It brings us so much pleasure and even more connection with the world, because we're putting a unique part of ourselves out there. And the highest level is transcendence. It's when we transcend our limitations. We we start to make a crack in an addiction, in a bad habit. We 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 uplift the veils of separation between us. We feel how we're all connected to each other. We recognize that we all share energy, and how, like, the vegetation gives us life and we give life to the vegetation. It's that feeling under a starry sky, that we know we're a part of the infinite universe.
That is really beautiful, by the way. That is really good. He must have been quite a man.
Yeah, he was a genius. He took the Bible, the Torah, the wisdom, and made it so clearly relevant to all of our lives. That's the genius that he had, because the wisdom is all there. But to bring out these treasures so that you could live with them, and live your life more fully and with joy. That's the genius that he had. And 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 the important thing he said is that to climb each rung on the pleasure ladder, there's just one price to pay, and that's gratitude. Gratitude is what gets us to every rung on the pleasure ladder.
Well, when you think about it, we are, and I think about this a lot because I, for one, am really grateful for my life. I'm grateful for people like you to come on to the show. I'm grateful for everything that I've got is I is a gift from God, and it really is.
How did you come to that?
I came to that in my early 40s when I was looking for again those two questions: is this all there is? And what am I supposed to be doing with my life?
Exactly.
And how am I supposed to, you know, maybe it was just, no, it's not just me. I think this is universal. We all at one point recognize that we don't want to be selfish. We don't want to be jealous. We don't want to be angry. We want to be loving, caring, kind to people. Um, and we want to know why we're not, and how we can get there. At least for me, it was like, and I was always, happy go lucky. I like to help people and that kind of stuff, but it still was like there has to be more.
Yes. There really are instructions for living, and we're not told that. We go around very blindly, not knowing what to do, searching for wisdom. And there really are clear instructions for living. Like the pleasure ladder, it's a stairway to heaven on earth. That's what it is. If we can keep that vision in front of us, it helps us to understand what we're here for, what the purpose of this all is. The cosmic oneness, the infinite oneness could do anything, but it was necessary for that oneness to contract, to seemingly contract, in order to create the relationship. That's why we are here, to have a relationship, to be that other. And we're here our whole job in this relationship is to express gratitude. We're here to be the recipients of joy in this incredible garden. We've gone far off from that, but we can come back to the garden. We can come back and experience joy. It's always available to us, and the tools are gratitude. Throughout the day, mindful gratitude is it brings us back to our essence. And it brings us back to what you said. It brings us back to recognizing that this world was created to be a wonderful place, and we were created to be wonderful beings in this world, enjoying this world.
You know, there is a reason why when you are when you do something really nice for someone, when you are loving and kind to other people, that you are vibrating at a higher level, and it makes, and so there, consequently, I get the pleasure ladder now. I
Yes.
understand, because when you're vibrating at a higher level, you are actually feeling better, and
Yes.
you're feeling better about yourself, you're feeling better about those around you, and life becomes a grand adventure.
Exactly. Beautiful. Beautiful. When we when we help other souls to shine, it's kind of selfish. It helps our own souls to shine. I mean, it just does, you know? That's how it works. Exactly.
And it can be a really wonderful experience if rather than being selfish, being jealous, being angry, being fearful of life, being those are lower vibrations, and those make you feel badly. And by the way, when you're vibrating at a high level, you don't do bad things.
That's so true. That's exactly right. But why does a person get an addiction? Why does a person do, other things that are harmful, whether it's to other people or to themselves? They're not filled up enough, their
That's right.
soul hasn't been nourished enough. And again, if someone has gone through the trauma in childhood, they usually can't get out of it by themselves. They usually need therapeutic intervention. They need support in order to help those protective layers come off, because they've learned not to enjoy, but to protect themselves. That's the main thing that they learn. Then they're not open to enjoying. They need help to get there. So they need to be doing two things at once, always nourishing their hungry souls because they're very hungry, but they also usually need support in addition to help remove those layers so their light can shine out and light can get in. Yeah.
You're absolutely spot on with that, because what happens is we tend to, and I call them stories, we tend to believe the stories that were told to us through either somebody telling us this, that you're stupid, you're fat, you're ugly, or just by the experience that we have as you don't make the football team, or you try out to be a cheerleader and you get told no. You ask a beautiful girl out for a date and she says, what, me, you, ha? and and they, so we get filled with negative experiences,
Yes.
and we don't look at them the way that they're designed to be looked at, which is, first of all, we all fail,
Yes.
but we have the ability to rise up above that. And when you do that, if you're capable of doing that, then the pleasure is enormous when you succeed.
Exactly. That's the highest level of pleasure. It's so huge when you make a tiny, tiny little crack in overcoming these challenges. It's so huge whenever we do that. Exactly. Oh, you described that beautiful. We also, the rabbi would say, "What's the opposite of pain?" And people think it's pleasure. He said, "But really, it's comfort. Comfort is used to get that pain to stop, alleviate the pain immediately. But that comfort those are the addictions. It doesn't bring us real pleasure in life, you know? When we let's say we just keep eating, we stuff our faces so we numb ourselves from the pain of rejection, whatever. It doesn't bring us pleasure afterwards at all. It brings us that temporary comfort. Afterwards, we feel miserable. And instead, oh my gosh, you say to ourselves, is it my body that's hungry or my soul? We have to ask that question with loving compassion when we recognize it's not my body that's hungry when I've had a good meal and then I just keep going, you know? It's it's my it's my soul that's hungry. So what can I do to feed my hungry soul right this minute? Open the window, feel the breeze, feel the sunshine, turn on the music, get up and stretch, get up and dance. Just do something, but you don't even have to do it. Just thinking it already, if you think that, the whole bag of potato chips isn't telling you to eat to finish it anymore, you know? Yeah.
That's, but you know what they say, you can't just eat one.
You
But
can't. You can't. I got to tell you, the junk food is designed to be delicious and addictive. It's designed that way, as opposed to the natural stuff. It's designed to be delicious and nutritious. It's a totally different kind of thing.
you
Yep.
know what's interesting about what you're saying, and by the way, we're talking with Bracha Goetz. She's a author of 40 children's books and one adult book. And they're all spiritual in nature to try and help children negotiate that part of life that can be really hard because they don't have the understanding, and if they are not given that by a caring, loving parent, and oftentimes they're not, then it becomes difficult. So this is a way to improve their stuff. Because I wanted to ask you, one of the issues I think that we have going on in a big way right now is, number one, we believe that we are separate from each other. We believe that others are not good enough, or and in a lot of cases our soul is not acknowledged by people, that they even have a soul, that it's all based upon physical pleasure, physical, which is, like you said, the lowest level of pleasure, and it's fleeting, it's not permanent, and it's based upon a flawed view of life. Do you agree?
Yeah, yes, and also the natural physical pleasures really are designed to nourish our souls. They're really good for us, but they are the lowest level of all the 5 levels. But it, there's a book I wrote, The Invisible Book. It's exactly what you're talking about. There are so many things in this world that we believe in that are invisible, and there is, just gravity. We let go of the book and it just goes down. There's this invisible force of gravity. And we see the effects of it, but we never actually see gravity. There's time, it's invisible. There's our thoughts and our feelings, they're all invisible. There's electromagnetism. How does a magnet pick up a paperclip? There's so many things that we believe in that are invisible.
Radio waves and television waves.
Beautiful, exactly. All these frequencies and wavelengths going on. Yes, exactly. So so it's really not that hard to believe that we too, we're also invisible. We look like we're not, you know, but the real essence of us is invisible. That is the spiritual essence that we all are. And so I bring it out by all these other things that children can understand and they know they exist. We too, the main part of us is invisible. So that's what I'm explaining to children in this really scientific way. That's who we are.
And take it even one step further. When you're talking about radio waves, where you cannot see radio waves until you have a device to be able to pick them up. Now, We have, in your case, as an example, you get downloads. So you have a device in your head that helps you interpret what is being the messages that are being sent to you. And in the radio waves, turning on your favorite music station, and then through those radio waves that you cannot see, beautiful music that inspires you can come out of that, and that is, we don't look at it in those ways, and I think we should be.
That's beautiful, really beautiful. We are all we're all vessels, we're all channels, you know, for all this energy to come through us. Exactly. We all have that ability. When we're not in joyful states, it's not as easy to channel that energy. So that's why it's really, really important to fill our lives with as much gratitude as humanly possible. And you do it in small ways. You start with an orange. An orange is so amazingly physical and a spiritual experience when you eat it mindfully. It turns into an incredible spiritual experience. Yeah.
I think that what you're talking about is really, I I think it's a cornerstone of life. And you discovered that at a very, very early age. Most of us don't get it until we get to a point. Like for me, it was like, all right, so I'm 40 years old. I've reached a level of financial security and a level of professional security. I've got a couple of kids. I have a pretty wife, and I have all of this stuff. But you know what? It wasn't enough.
Right.
I was missing what was the core foundation of why I was here. I wasn't here to be a sales manager and boss 12 people around and stuff. I was here to do more. And I really felt that. And I know you felt the same thing. Don't we all
Exactly.
feel that? Shouldn't we all feel that?
Yeah, I think that's why we're hungry. The hunger is a good thing. It's a symptom, you know, or whatever we're doing, the misery, the addiction, whatever the problem is, it's a symptom of the hunger. Wayne Dyer says that there's a spiritual solution to every problem. I mean, that's why we have to reconnect. We are always connected, but we don't recognize it. We don't
We
recognize the connection.
we ignore it in some
Yeah,
cases.
yeah,
That's not possible. That can't happen. People that can talk to people on the other side, they're charlatans. They're liars. That doesn't exist. And there is nothing in my mind. And tell me what you think, Braca. In my mind, there's nothing that doesn't exist. If you can think of it, it exists.
yes, that's true. Yeah, I mean, well, and they say there's nothing new under the sun. That's what King Solomon said. Yeah, everything is here. But the source of all is also concealed. It's not right out there. We kind of have to put energy in order to be able to see the source energy. It 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 can be apparent, but we have to put energy in to really open our spiritual eyes and see the wonder of life.
And that's part of the journey.
Yes.
That's I really think that is one of the reasons that we come here,
Yes.
because it's dense, it's hard, it's you can't nothing you can't just um wish for something and it shows up. You have to work hard for it, and it's by design, and I believe that's done by design. But
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I'm lifting weights, you know, in order to get stronger muscles. It's the challenges br- help us develop our spiritual muscles. That's what they do. We need a force fighting against us. There's always a self destructive impulse that's talking to us every day. And it too is from source energy. It's here to work as this weight that we have to lift up. It's fighting against us. We push back with gratitude. This, you know what this weight is telling us all day long? You don't have this, you're missing this, you're lacking that. And we fight back by saying, I have this, I have this, I have this. And that's how we build our gratitude muscles. These gratitude muscles get easier and easier to use, just like any muscle that you build up. And that's how you begin to have more and more joy in your life.
And you can do that with your self-esteem. You can do that with who you believe that you are, and the kindness that you display to other people. And you can start with it with just, take the mask off, but just a smile. If you just smile at people, and you will find that they will smile back sometimes.
Yes, sometimes if they're not in too much pain themselves, exactly. But they need the smiles the most, as we know, the ones that can smile back. And that kind of is painful. You smile at someone and they're just sort of not responding. It's hard. But imagine how much they're suffering if they can't smile back. Oh my gosh.
Now,
Yes.
I need to tell you a story real quick, because this is part of my journey, and it taught me a great deal that I'm using now that I didn't know that I ever would. I was a bus driver in Seattle for 12 years, and I took it upon myself for really a number of reasons, but primarily I wanted to say hello to everybody who got on my bus, to every person.
Yes.
And so I did that. And I would say, "Hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. Have a great day," and stuff. And I actually had people turn around and say, "What did you say?"
Wow.
And occasionally, and I would say, "I said, have a nice day." and but about 20% of the people actually responded to me.
Right.
80% said nothing. But you
Right.
know what? I reached a conclusion that that was none of my business.
Right.
My job was to be positive and was to be kind. And their job could have been anything, didn't matter. But it wasn't my job to then say, "Your woe is them." Humans are crappy people because they won't respond back. That's not my place to say. That's a judgment, and I didn't need
Fabulous.
to do that. So
So great.
I
So great. For one of those people, it may have been the only positive thing they heard that whole day, you know?
and that happened a lot.
Yeah.
Uh, Remember, I was a bus driver, and that's the bottom. In many cases, it's the people who can't drive, don't have enough money to drive.
Right.
They're a convicted felon. They're a drug abuser. They're homeless. I knew people that had no form of ID that would ride the bus.
Right.
None. They didn't have a
Right.
driver's license, an ID card, and they
Right.
can. And so, you don't know. And by the way, and that's also none of your business. Your job is to just be kind.
Wow. Wonderful. So great.
And if you can do that, what you will find is that your life will be a lot happier. And then you can get to the five, to the ladder, and you can grow it. That's just phenomenal. What your rabbi said. So,
Yeah, we all need loving compassion throughout the day. And if we're not getting it enough from other people, we can give it to ourselves. And
that's right.
that's it. That's what the pleasure ladder shows us. Each step on that ladder we can do ourselves. It's a way to care for ourselves, give ourselves the loving compassion we all, every single one of us needs.
And even more than that, if you can give it to yourself, you're no longer dependent upon
Yes.
the whims and beliefs of other people, because
Yes.
you now are coming from a place of coming from within, and you know that you are who you really are.
Beautiful. And you will see it's the proof of your resilience as well, because as you keep giving yourself that, as you keep experiencing the gratitude, you will recognize I am a person who is worthy of this joy because I'm experiencing it right now. Then you become a more joyful person, and that's how you watch the resilience of your soul unfold into the world. That's really what you do. That's how you keep feeding your hungry soul.
I got to tell you, but first of all, we're talking with Bracha Goetz, and is there a website that we need to reference?
Oh, Goetzbookshop.com. My children created this. Really, it's the new thing, and all the books you could find them on Amazon on the bookshop. But this helps my children, so I send everybody to Goetzbookshop.com. Yeah.
Perfect. And she's got 41 books, 40 children's books, one adult book. She is I think it's fair for me to say that you are an enlightened soul among us, and I thank you for being who you are.
Thank you so much. Clearly you are. I am so grateful. Really, one of the things that really helped me so much was that I was able to when I got to Harvard, I saw kind of that it was a mirage. When you get to these places like fame and fortune and you actually get there and you see there's nothing much up there, that's when you could go on further for what really brings joy in life, you know? So I'm grateful. Some people have to waste many years going after these illusions, really, you know?
They
It
are.
it doesn't really bring that lasting joy that you want in your life. And we're all here for pleasure. We are people need pleasure, and that's what we were created for. So you might think that fame and fortune is going to bring it, but you know from all the famous people and their life stories that that's not the case, you know. So and the wealthy and the famous, it's just not what happens. But it's the people that are experiencing all these pleasures on the pleasure ladder that really have joy in life. Those that are the givers, you know, creatively giving to the world, doing helping other people, feeling gratitude for life. That's really what has value.
I couldn't agree more. You are phenomenal.
Oh.
And now you're still writing, right?
Yeah, yeah, working on another book right now. Yep.
Oh, very nice. Now, with the number of books that you've had published, I am sure that anything that you write, your publisher says, "Bring it on! I got it. I'll take it."
Well, that's the thing. I was I was being published by traditional publishers up until now. Now, my children said, "Stop sending your books to the publishers. We want to publish your books now." So the newest book, the Let's Stay Healthy, is the first book that my children published. They would not let me send it out anymore. So they want to be the publishing company of doing my books here on out. Yeah. My
That is
children,
that
yeah.
that is and that is great because that's a legacy that you're going to leave your kids going forward because they're going to be able to come up with a whole business model around you and it's going to be good for you too.
I love that because I'm not a business person. I don't enjoy it. And they're having fun with this, so that's great.
And it's very fulfilling for you that your
Yeah.
children are interested in what you're doing.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, but quite frankly, my kids could really give a rip, but that's neither here nor there. Be- good. So it's because what I do, I got to admit, you're an author, but what I do is like really out of the box. It's
Yes.
and it's really different and stuff. So they don't get it. They will.
You never know when, right? That
That's right.
that sunny sky right out there, it comes all of a sudden. Yep.
Yep, but like my older boy said, he said, "Well, Dad, I may not get it, but you've got 600 episodes out in the world, and 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 they've been downloaded and shared in a myriad of ways that I would have no earthly idea how. So this episode is going to get shared, and it's going to mean something extremely special to somebody, and it's because of what you did, and I'm grateful to you."
Thank you
Thank you,
so
Bracha.
much. I'm so grateful to you. Thank you for what you're doing.
It's a mutual grateful society. Isn't that cool?
Yay!
Okay, I need to wrap this up, but before we go, I want to give you, I'm going to step aside and I want to give you a moment to tell the audience that's listening now and who will listen later anything that you would like them to know.
Okay, let's see. I want you to know that you're a spiritual being. We're here for this temporary human experience. You've heard that we're just here really for a short while, but it's your spirit that will go on forever and ever. So, so nourish that hungry soul. And how do you nourish your hungry soul? With gratitude. That's it. That's the whole price you need to pay to climb that ladder. Feel free to reach out to me. Let me know. Give me feedback how you've tried this in your life and how it works. I'd love to hear.
Very good. And if somebody wants to contact you, how do they do that?
Well, you go to the Goetz bookshop and it shows you how to contact me. Everything's there. Yep. And you see how to spell Goetz, Goetz.
And
Yep.
your kids did it all for you.
Yes. Very
Oh,
grateful.
it's how old are your kids?
They are ages 32 to 42.
Which one was the one who had the idea first? The oldest one?
Oh, no, it's my youngest son and his wife. Yep.
Oh, that is well, they're more friendly to the current way that business is being done
Exactly.
digitally and that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yep.
Yes, indeed. So again, our guest has been Bracha Goetz. Go to the GoetzBookshop.com. Is that right?
That's it. GoetzBookshop.com. Thank you so very much.
And that's Goetz. And that's Goetz. So again, thank you. Bracha, if you wait right there, I'll be right back. Thanks for enjoying this episode all the way to the end. Please give us a like and subscribe to this channel. This has been a production of kmmedia.pro. Please visit our website, oddly enough, named kmmedia.pro, for more details about us and our mission, which is to provide great positive programming designed to inspire us all. I'm Kevin McDonald, and I'm proud of these shows, and I truly hope that you'll like them and share them with friends and family. So on behalf of our entire team, remember, be kind to each other because each other's all we've got. We'll see you next time.